So the mystery winners split the July's 1.34 billion mega millions jackpot. So two mystery winners have claimed the 1.34 billion mega millions prize 8 weeks after buying the tickets for the third largest lottery jackpot in US history at a gas station in Illinois. The pair who chose to remain anonymous, which, luckily for them, they lived in a state that allowed them to do this. Because with this type of money, if your identity became public, that would be life threatening. Like literally life threatening. So they claimed the July 29th prize after working with professional legal and financial advisors ahead of picking the lump sum payment of $780.5 million, officials said Wednesday. Now, here's the thing. I think this is probably one of the smartest decisions that they've made. Specifically, this. Before just accepting the winnings, they sought out and got professional legal and financial advisors to help them out, right? Now, here's the thing. You want their input. You don't want to buy necessarily products that they sell, but you could definitely pay for their services. And what I mean by this, there have been a lot of lottery winners that have been completely screwed over by lawyers and financial advisors because they basically got scammed. And this is the thing. You don't want them to take control of your money. What you do want is them to basically guide you on a path that makes the most sense to you and your goals, but also that they don't have any direct access to your money in any shape, way, or form. So they had bought the winning ticket during a routine stop at a speedway in Des Plaines, Illinois, agreeing to split the prize if they won. That turned out to be an absolutely a life-changing decision when a $3 line of Mega Millions with Megaplier turned into a $1.34 billion jackpot win, said Illinois Lottery Director Harold Mays. So that's a pretty interesting thing. Imagine spending only $3 to make 1.3 billion. Now, also, you gotta keep in mind, they took the lump sum. So instead of getting the full 1.34 billion, they're going to get the 780.5, but that is before taxes. Once you add taxes onto that, that's probably like about 450, 460, like 460 million, maybe about that. Which, nice. Life changing money still. I certainly wouldn't complain to get a lump sum payment of $460 million right into my bank account. But also, you gotta keep in mind too, like, a lot of times you gotta look at the lottery as basically a scamming machine, right? Every aspect of it is basically a scam. It's a tax on the poor. Pretty much nobody wins it. The people who do win it tend to be people who have had no experience with money or are extremely poor with managing their money. So they end up losing all their money and even get into debt past what they even made because they have no understanding about financial matters at all. See, so these winners are now in the inviolable position of deciding what to do with their newfound fortune. The winners had a full year to claim the prize, but only 60 days, or until September 27th, for their choice of getting the 780.5 million lump sum. So basically, they did it right in the nick of time, which is nice. Now, here's the thing, right? Personally, because I will play the lottery if I'm bored when I get groceries or whatever, personally, right? Even though I know I would never win it. Although funny enough, I spent like $10 on a scratch off and made 100, which is nice. But if I were to win a prize like this, right? Now let's not even say 450, 460 million. Let's say like a much more, in quotes, realistic sum of money. Let's say 2 million, right? Well, if you were to win $2 million from, let's just say, like a scratch off or whatever, right? Personally, I wouldn't really seek out financial or legal advice because I'm pretty good at managing my money. But what I would do with that money, and what everyone should do with that money, is if you have a debt, pay it off, right? So if you have credit card bills, pay it off. If you have a mortgage, pay that off. If you have student loans, pay that off, right? If you have a car payment, pay that car off. You want zero debt after winning a lottery prize. And the reason for that is that worst case scenario, at the very least, you'll keep the items that you have because they're paid in full. Now, obviously, you got to pay for like insurance, taxes, all that kind of stuff, right? But you could probably manage it with a lot of different jobs that don't make that much money. Because once you're debt free, the actual like running cost of like living as like a human being is pretty low, right? If you don't have a whole bunch of monthly payments coming in, you could pretty much work a minimum wage job pretty much anywhere in the country and be okay. If you have no recurring monthly payments for debt payments. So that's why make sure pay off all of your debt, every single one, and if you're able to do the mortgage, make sure to do that too, right? For like worst case scenario. But also, you don't want debt in general anyways. Next, create a very sizable emergency fund with the leftover money. So I'd probably do a 6 month to a year just because I prefer to have a nice cash chunk in my emergency fund. Now, for the majority of people, all you would really need is like 3 to 6 months. But personal preference, I like 6 to 12, right? After that, I would begin to automatically investing money every month, like sizable amounts of money every month, and put that on autopilot and completely forget about it. Now, I'd also end up probably put like a nice chunk immediately there if I feel like, maybe an investment is kind of like lacking. But the majority of these funds are going to be either mutual funds or like an S&P 500 index fund or ETF, right? Like you don't even got to make things complicated. Because another way to view it too is that I believe roughly if you have about $1 million in the stock market, specifically in like the S&P 500, roughly, right? You'd probably be making, in terms of like just the dividends that it ends up pooping out of it, about $40,000 to $50,000 a year on average. Which, in the majority of places, if you got no debt, no running costs per month, $50,000 a year can literally pay for your livelihood without you ever really having to think about anything. Which like think about that, right? Think about potentially not having to work a job if you don't want to because the money that you won can literally pay for your lifestyle without you doing anything at all, right? Because here's the thing, people really overcomplicate money issues or financial issues, right? You can literally just automate the majority of this stuff and never really worry about it, which is what I do. Like I automate basically everything. Like if you want to like retire a millionaire, start investing into a Roth IRA very early on and you will retire a tax-free millionaire by retirement age. It's almost a guarantee brain dead method. Now, obviously, you got to pick something worthwhile that makes sense, like some sort of mutual fund, like ETF, that basically tracks the stock market. But basically, if you do that within your Roth IRA, you're going to be golden, right? If you pick certain funds that are not complicated, that have a proven track record of over 10 plus years, you're going to be okay. Roughly speaking, your money is basically going to be doubling about every 10 years, right? So if you put like $1 million from like a lottery winning into like the S&P 500, right? Or a fund that invests into the stock market, roughly every 10 years it's going to double. So 1 million to 2 million, 2 million to 4 million, 4 million to 6 million. And by the time that you end up passing away, you literally have a fund of 8 figures without you having to do a darn thing. Okay, so interesting. So the winners actually had a full year to claim the prize, but only 60 days, or until September 27th, for their choice of getting the 780.5 million lump sum. Now, here's the thing, right? Financially speaking, it is smarter to take the lump sum, even having to pay that massive tax bill, which was going to cut this amount basically in half, if you know what to do with the money. If you don't know what to do with the money, or if you can't be bothered to do with the money, or you know deep down inside, or when you look at the mirror, you know you're going to eat that pizza type of thing, right? Because everyone knows how to lose weight. Stop eating a bunch of food. But you look at yourself in the mirror and you see your man boobs and you know you're going to eat that pizza or that gallon of ice cream or something, right? You got to be honest with yourself. So, being honest with yourself, if you know that you have spending problems or that there's a very high likelihood that you are going to screw up with this money, take the annual payments. And the reason for that is because even if you were to completely screw up your life for a year or 2 years or 5 years, you're still going to have money coming in, guaranteed. So if you know that is a possibility for you, like a higher than 20% possibility for you, take the annual payments and be safe with the money. So Illinois lottery claims manager Luis Rodriguez said it was by far the largest prize I've ever had to process in his 5 years on the job. When we met with the winner's lawyers, there was a real buzz of excitement in the room, he said. It's a surreal feeling giving away this amount of money and knowing what a huge impact this is going to make on the winners' lives and for others close to them as well. Now, here's the thing that's a little bit questionable because here's the thing. If you want like this massive size, other than the people who are truly closest to you, that you love, that you want to take care of, do not let anyone know that you won that money. So it was an incredible feeling just to be part of that process. So I can only imagine how the winners themselves are feeling. The lottery officials insisted that they could not give any detail about the winners beyond saying they would be over the moon. So the jackpot was the second largest in Mega Millions history, trailing only a 1.537 billion winning ticket in South Carolina on October 23rd, 2018. And that winner remains unknown. And the road record jackpot of 1.586 billion was awarded on January 13th, 2016 in the Powerball lottery. It was shared by winners in California, Florida, and Tennessee. So here's the thing. If you stumble upon this episode, feel free to give your personal thoughts as to how you would spend this money if you were to win this massive amount of lottery winnings. And if you stumble upon this as well, feel free to give your thoughts as if you were to win a smaller amount, like $1 or $2 million. Because the thing is, Personal finance is not complicated, but most people are not willing to do the bare minimum to live a good financial life, right? And I have high hopes that these winners are going to be good with their money. Like, I have really high hopes based off how they went about doing this. Because I've seen so many horror stories because I used to love watching American Greed back when that was like on like a TV show of lottery winners losing everything and resorting to do really stupid stuff for money because their lives are basically worthless now. So, if you ever get lucky enough to win some sort of lottery, or you get some sort of inheritance, or you were to sell something like a business or something, get a really nice chunk of change, just be smart with the money. And by smart, I mean just use common sense with the money and you're going to be okay. Like, I don't want anyone to end up suffering after being basically gifted something this crazy. If you want to learn how to get out of debt and master your money, go to 40inbox.com or down below to learn how I got out of debt and grew my net worth.